smoker, and I'm going to slap you in public.
You have way too much pubic hair.
Actually, that's a point of pride. I'm very proud of my mane of pubic hair, so thank you.
You have man boobs.
You've got a dirty, whorish mouth. That's what you have. I'm going to punch you in the ovary. That's what I'm going to do. A straight shot.
Ooh, ow.
Right to the baby maker.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. Welcome to another top 10 list. Today's top 10 list, I focus on one of my favourite comedy actors, Will Ferrell. Now for me, Will Ferrell has been one of the funniest comedy actors of the last couple of decades. He's done some absolutely brilliant films, some of my favourite comedies of the last few decades. In a lot of ways, he reminds me he's almost like a modern day Chevy Chase. He's done so many iconic comedy films. I could probably have done a top 20 list if I'd have really gone to town on this. But I've tried to whittle it down to my absolute favourites. Now, as always, guys, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying these are the absolute best films that Will Ferrell has ever done. These are just my personal favourites. So as always, guys, let me know in the comments if there's any that you think I've missed, or just fire away and put your favourite Will Ferrell films in the comments. And I do hope you enjoy watching this list. Now, coming in at number 10 on the list is a film called Old School. This was released in 2003, and he's not really the main star in this film. He plays a character called Frank, who joins Luke Wilson and Vince Vaughn as they set up their own fraternity. It's really, really funny because the Will Ferrell character Frank plays like this guy who has kidded himself into thinking he's married and settled down, and in actual fact, he reverts right back to his old high school character, way over the top, gets really, really bonkers drunk, and it's just a really, really fun character and a really fun film. Coming in at number 9 on the list is Eurovision, the story of Fire Saga. Eurovision Song Contest, the story of Fire Saga, should I say. Now, this was on Netflix a couple of years ago in 2020. I wasn't initially overly keen on this because I thought it was going to be like a musical, and it isn't really. It's actually a really well-constructed, very quite thoughtful, but also very, very funny film. You've got Will Ferrell on the one hand being completely over the top, as you would expect. And it's just really, really funny, and it's actually quite uplifting as well. Apparently, his wife is Swedish or something like that, and she loves Eurovision, which is where we got the idea for the film. And it's definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it. It's definitely very funny. Coming in at number 8 on the list is Blades of Glory. Now, he's done quite a few sports comedies over the years. This is certainly one of my favourites. He plays an ice skater who, along with John Heder, they kind of get banned from competitive ice skating for kind of having this feud. And the only way they can skate is as a pair. It is discovered, so they have to kind of pair up these mortal enemies and skate together to try and get a Olympic gold sort of thing. The concept is absolutely bonkers, of course it is, but it is really, really funny. It is very, very funny indeed, and I think it's certainly right up there with his best sports comedies for sure. Coming in at number 7 is Megamind. This was released in 2010. I watched this all the time when my son was younger. I'm not a huge fan, generally speaking, of animated films. There's a few that I've got fond memories from, mainly from watching them with my son when he was younger. This is right up there. This is one of the rare animated films that I do have in my Blu-ray collection. I think it's really well put together. I think Will Ferrell was fantastic here as Megamind, who plays this supervillain, who in actual fact desperately kind of wants to be the hero, but he feels like he's got to play the part of the supervillain. It's really good. It's got Brad Pitt in it, Tina Fey, Jonah Hill, and it's just very, very good indeed. Coming in at number 6 is Get Hard with Kevin Hart. This was released in 2015. Not a lot of people would point the finger at this one and say it was one of his best. I disagree. I just think him and Kevin Hart had great chemistry, and Will Ferrell plays like this financial Wall Street guy almost, who gets framed and he's essentially going to be sent to prison. and he enlists the help of Kevin Hart, who Will Ferrell thinks is like a hardened ex-criminal, and he's not at all. So he hires Kevin Hart to toughen him up for prison, with hilarious results, as you could imagine. Just look up some clips on YouTube of this film, and I promise you'll probably want to check it out. I think it's really, really good, and I do think him and Kevin Hart had great chemistry in this film, and I really enjoy this one. Coming in at number 5, released in 2012, is another film that I don't think gets enough attention. It's a film called The Campaign, with Zach Galifianakis. I probably pronounced that wrong, from the Hangover films. It's like a political comedy. Will Ferrell plays an established politician running for governor, and he gets some competition from the Zach Galifianakis character, who has never run for office before, but he wants to do the right thing. So these two guys clashing in this thing is hilarious. Again, there's some really fun YouTube clips of this one. And I do one of the best all-time scenes ever is Will Ferrell punching a baby. Yes, he really does that. Coming in at number 4 on the list is The Other Guys with Mark Wahlberg. Now, he has teamed up with Mark Wahlberg, is it 3 or 4 times now? They've got great chemistry together. I think this is their finest film, where they both basically play they play cops who are essentially the other guys. That nobody's interested in them, and they're not going to be promoted. The guys that sit at the back do all the jobs that nobody else wants to do, but they have to step up and be the men because there's nobody else in the department when they have to kind of solve this case. Will Ferrell drives a Prius in this. It's just really good, great chemistry, and it's a really fun action comedy too. Coming in at number 3, Elf. This is the film that really broke Will Ferrell. It turned him into a big star. It's one of the most iconic Christmas films. You ask anybody to name their top 10 favourite Christmas films, this will inevitably be in most people's top 5, I think. It's really charming. It's got the late great James Caan in it as well. But it is just, the thing is, what I like about this film, it's great for adults because, it's got some adult humour in it is here and where sprinkled in that kids won't necessarily get, and it's quite innocent for kids as well. It's for the whole family, and I think Will Ferrell pulls off the part perfectly, and he's really, really funny too in this film. Coming in at number 2, Anchorman, the legend of Ron Burgundy. What can you say about this film? It shouldn't have worked. It's absolutely bonkers. The concept of it is absolutely bonkers. Ron Burgundy in the 70s, a news anchorman having to compete with a woman. Oh my goodness. It's absolutely crazy. There's some great supporting cast here with Steve Carell and other people. And there's so many laugh out loud moments in this film. I just genuinely don't know where to start, which is why I put the clip at the beginning. I could have put, the whole film at the beginning because the whole thing is absolutely hilarious. I really enjoy the sequel too. The magic wasn't just there, but it is still great. Number 1. For me, it has to be Step Brothers. This is his best film, isn't it? I don't think he's ever been as funny as he was in this. It's a real toss of the coin between this and Anchorman, I think. Again, he's got great chemistry with John C. Reilly. There's one thing you can say about Will Ferrell is when he's partnered up with someone, he usually generates fantastic chemistry with them. He's done it over and over again, and I've mentioned a few examples on this list. And this is the one where they both play 40-plus aged guys who just behave like teenagers. Their mother and the father get married, so they end up being stepbrothers. They have to live together with hilarious consequences, really, because they hate each other initially. They're constantly fighting. They fight over drum sets. They fight over literally everything. And then, lo and behold, they become best of friends. And that's just as hilarious as well. The whole film is just laugh-a-minute stuff. I mean, it hurts your sides. It's that funny, this film. And for me, I think it is easily his best film. Well, it's right up there, certainly. I think they've been toying with the idea of a Step Brothers 2 for a few years, but I'm not sure we'll ever see it now, especially after the last encounter that they made together, these two guys, was the Sherlock Holmes disaster, which was genuinely awful. But this is genuinely magical and hilarious, and that's why I've put it at number 1. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this list. Let me know in the comments your favourite Will Ferrell films, and also let me know in the comments if there's any top 10 lists you would be interested in seeing me doing. And of course, I'll be back with plenty more content on the channel very, very soon.